What is up, bros and broettes? I'm Slasher44, and today we're going to be doing an updated top 5 weapons in Black Ops 3 list, because recently there have been a lot of patches to weapons, and originally when I released the top 5 weapon list for Black Ops 3, at the beginning of Black Ops 3's release, it is completely different than what we have now. Not only the order is different, but some of the weapons that were on there before aren't even going to be on today's list, just because there's been so many patches, but we'll talk about those weapons when we get to them. Some of them that we're going to look at, though, the Vesper. The Vesper was on my top 5 list, and guess what? It's not there anymore. Recently, it's been patched and has a shit ton of recoil, a ton of it, and it kind of destroys the weapon. Yeah, you can still melt people up really close, but within like 5 meters. Anything beyond that 5 meters, there's no point, and when it's at that point, you might as well just use a shotgun instead of the Vesper. So that's my thoughts on that, but without further ado, let's get into checking out the top 5 weapons of Black Ops 3. So at number 5, I couldn't really decide what weapon I wanted here. I had two choices. I either had the M8A7 or I either had the ManofWar. As you can probably tell by the gameplay, I chose the ManofWar, and here is why. So I originally was going to go with the M8A7, which is a very good weapon, do not get me wrong. But the only way I find the M8A7 at all useful is when you put rapid fire on it. Whereas when I'm using the ManofWar, I can pretty much use it right away as soon as I get it. I don't need any specific attachments. So in my mind, that kind of makes the gun a little bit better. Yes, the M8A7 is good. I just think the ManofWar is a little bit better. Not to mention, it's a headshot machine. If you play anything like Domination or Team Deathmatch, where it's definitely possible to keep your distance from people, the ManofWar tears people apart. If you're playing a game mode like Hardpoint or Kill Confirm, something where you kind of got to be a little bit more up close and personal, I wouldn't really suggest this weapon. But definitely, it's a slow-firing weapon with a super high damage, and I love this weapon. I highly suggest using long barrel on this bad boy, red dot sight, and grip. Definitely really love this weapon. Coming in at number 4, we have the number 1 gun from my original Black Ops 3 top 5 weapon list, and it's the Gorgon. And yes, I really still do love the Gorgon. I think it's one of the best weapons in the game. The problem with this weapon is it can't compete with the top tier weapons in this game, and here's why. It can outshoot them, you can outgun people with it, and as a weapon, it works fantastic, but the mobility on it and aim down sights time leaves something to be desired, and it makes it so it's completely unplayable in competitive games. Now, I do think it's the best LMG. I think it's better than the Dingo. I know a lot of people like the Dingo, but I really do think this thing is a force to be reckoned with. And in fact, if you can keep your distance from people with this gun, kind of like the ManofWar, you will tear people apart. Now, the reason why it comes in at number 4 on the list is because if you are at that distance, it will outgun the ManofWar every single time. And that's why it just falls slightly above the ManofWar on the top 5 weapons of Black Ops 3. So as of right now in Black Ops 3, I truly believe that submachine guns are probably the best weapons to use. Reason being, a lot of them actually function pretty good at long range and tear people apart at short range. I almost put the Argus on this list, but the fact is some of the SMGs I'm putting on this list, they are much better than the Argus, because the Argus only performs well at extremely short range. That being said, I do believe the Argus is the best shotgun, and it's definitely an honorable mention for this list. Up next at number 3, though, we have the Faro. The Faro is a burst action SMG done 100% right. Now, I know this weapon was nerfed, but I still feel like this is one of the best weapons in the game. Not only does it absolutely tear people apart at short range, you can also pick some people off at a distance, and you'll see that in this gameplay. I do pick some people off when they're pretty far away from me. Now, that being said, why isn't this weapon further up on the list? It is because this weapon actually takes quite a good bit of skill to actually succeed with. And what do I mean by this? If you missed your first burst with this weapon, you are at a huge disadvantage. And this weapon is one of those that's actually a decent idea to use rapid fire with, because it shortens that burst delay. But like I said, this weapon takes a little bit of skill to use. But if you make sure you hit that first burst with this weapon, you'll win almost every single gunfight you get into. And because of that, it comes in at number 3 on the list. So one of my favorite things about Black Ops 3 is that everyone's top 5 weapons is different, because the weapon balance in this game, believe it or not, is probably the best out of any Call of Duty game I've seen before. There really isn't that one weapon that is super overpowered. There was the Vesper, but they nerfed that pretty well, and now I'm really interested to see what you guys. Let me know in the comment section below, what is your favorite weapon in the game, or top 5. Do like 1, this weapon, 2, this weapon, just like you did on the last video. And I'm really curious to see what your favorite weapons, your top 5 weapons, are at this point in the game. At number 2, we have the KN-44. Now, the reason why this weapon has moved up, so this was never even on my top 5 list last time. The reason why it's moved up on the list and so high on the list is because almost every update that's come out for Black Ops 3, this gun has been buffed and buffed and buffed to the point where it is an unbelievably good gun at this point, and I think it kind of happened underneath everyone's nose, because when this game came out, the KN-44 was kind of middle of the pack, and now I think it's definitely a top tier weapon. It has a pretty good fire rate with a pretty good damage profile and a pretty good every other stat in the game, and since everything is just above average, it's an amazing gun, because generally when a weapon is designed, it has one really good stat, let's say damage, and one really bad stat, let's say fire rate. This one just has all good stats. It's a very, very good weapon. You can use this gun with a suppressor, you can use it with a long barrel, you can use it with rapid fire. Whatever you use on this weapon, it just makes the gun better. And I love to use this weapon. If I'm playing against a hard team and I'm having trouble, this is a weapon I'll use because it succeeds at every single range, and it's just one of those weapons you can always rely on to do good, because like I said, all its stats are good, and that's why it comes in at number 2. So coming in at number 1, numero uno, the bee's knees, the cat's meow, the grand poobah, I don't know what else, but is the Kuda. The Kuda has risen the ranks and is now, in my opinion, the best gun in the game. Before, I thought the Vesper was better than this, and I thought the Gorgon was better than this, but after using this weapon, oodles and oodles, it is next to unstoppable for a few reasons. So first of all, just like the KN-44, this is another gun that just has all around good stats. Good fire rate, good damage profile, good aim down sights time, good recoil pattern, great recoil pattern actually if you ask me. For its fire rate and damage profile, there's barely any recoil on this weapon whatsoever, and that's what makes it so good, because with this weapon, you can strongly succeed at short range and then just snipe people at long range because it has such low recoil and a good fire rate. And all around, this weapon is amazing. This is one of those weapons in a Call of Duty where you can just pick it up and from any distance, from any range, in any situation, succeed with it for many, many reasons. Now, there is one tip I can give you for this gun, and one tip alone. If you put a stock on this weapon, you will destroy people, because it makes you move at 104% speed while aiming down sights with this weapon, and with its amazing stats, you will succeed. Now, that being said, this weapon can be beat. At a long range, you can be beat with a sniper rifle. At a long range, you can be beat with the Gorgon. At a short range, you can be beat with the Vesper. You have to be like within that 5-meter range that I said earlier in this video. But overall, you will win the most gunfights in this game with the Kuda, in my opinion. Now, this list does come down to opinions. I didn't give out any specific stats. I just gave you general ideas of why I believe these weapons fall into this order. But like I said, every single person who plays this game, their lists will be different. And I want to hear what the order of your list is in the comment section below. I want to hear what's your number 5 gun, and so on and so forth. And it would be greatly appreciated if you let me know, and then I'll give them a tryout and report back to you. Maybe we'll have another one of these in a few months once some more patches come out. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, it would be super greatly appreciated if you could leave a like rating. It really does help out the channel, and it helps more and more people find these videos. So if you could leave a like rating, I would really appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to it. I put up new videos every single day of the week except for Sundays, and check me out on Twitter if you're interested in what's going on in my life. There's a link down in the description. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time,